Hi there Booktube, it's Eleanor here and it's time for my What I Read video plus my Booktuber Shoutout. So this week was an interesting week in reading for me, and we will get into that in a minute. But firstly, I want to talk about my Booktuber shout out of this week, and that is going to be Ashley from the channel Downright Bookish. Now, I found Ashley's channel very recently myself through another Booktuber shout out, which was on Jen Campbell's channel. So if you watch Jen's videos, you've probably seen her already. I absolutely have fallen in love with Ashley's channel. She's very different in terms of a lot of the books that she reads, and she's really getting into sort of short stories and literary magazines, and I really blame her for some of the purchases I've made recently, which you will see in a future haul. But yeah, she has really got me hooked and got me interested in diversifying my reading yet again. And so thank you very much to Ashley for that. So I could not mention her, and I'll leave all her links down below. Go check her out, and if you like her channel, subscribe and show her some Booktube love, because I'm really loving the content that she's making. So anyway, let's get into the books that I've read this week. Firstly, I was completing my week of reading with Brittany from Under the Radar Books. We read The Honours, and we read The Book Collector, and then we were going to read Barbara the Slut by Lauren Holmes. I was a little bit ahead of Brittany in my reading, and so I started this and read the first couple of stories, and I really just found it a bit meh. And so I've put it down, and I think I'm going to DNF it. I just recently I've just been finding I just don't want to waste my time with books that I'm not enjoying. So yeah, this just wasn't for me, so I've DNF'd this one. Next, I picked up our final buddy read, which was the first book in a quartet, which is The Moon Dwellers by David Estes. I'd heard from a couple of people that this was just your sort of average YA dystopian, which I quite like, so I went into this with open eyes, and it was your average YA dystopian. Unfortunately, it didn't offer me anything sort of magical or that I hadn't sort of seen before, but it was an interesting idea in itself. It was about a sort of an apocalyptic event which had meant that humanity was living below ground, and over the hundreds of years, everybody had sort of started to be put into a class system. You had the people at the top, the sun dwellers, who were like the upper class, and the prime minister and that, and then in the middle you had the moon dwellers, who were sort of your middle class, and at the bottom I think it was the star dwellers, who were the sort of lower class citizens, and accordingly they had less money, less amenities, less electricity. This was just okay. I didn't enjoy the love aspect of it, and I just found it a little bit cliche and boring in part. In my notes here I've put it was a little bit blah blah blah. Yeah, I just felt it just wasn't anything amazing, so I gave this one 3 stars. It was okay, an okay read, but it wasn't anything that I would push for people to try. Next, I read a book that I'd been anticipating, and that was Winner's Kiss by Marie Witkowsky. I loved Winner's Crime and Winner's Curse, and I couldn't wait for this final part in the trilogy to come out. I'd pre-ordered it and I started reading it the day it arrived. And I really enjoyed this. Unfortunately, I don't think it was my favourite of the series, but it was still a really solid ending. I really enjoyed where Marie Witkowsky took the characters and how she made Kestrel really quite a strong, independent character, which I liked. And I really liked certain aspects of this. I really enjoyed the beginning bit. I can't tell you too much because it would be a spoiler, but I really enjoyed the beginning part of this story where we were following Kestrel in what was happening to her. The only thing I found with this is that the middle section for me just dragged a little bit. It wasn't quite up to the same as Winner's Curse and Winner's Crime for me, but it was a brilliant trilogy and I would definitely recommend it, and I gave this one 4 stars. Just to give you a little bit of a sort of idea about the story, in the first book we meet Kestrel, who is the daughter of a general, and she is a member of the ruling class who have conquered the indigenous people, I suppose, and she buys a slave at an auction who is called Aaron. They form a relationship, and it's to do with politics and warfare and intrigue and spying, and yeah, it was really good, and I definitely recommend this if you like that type of thing. The next book I picked up was a bit of a surprise for me, and that is Holly Madison's Down the Rabbit Hole, Curious Adventures and Cautionary Tales from a Former Playboy Bunny. I picked this up on the recommendation of a couple of people, and I was just intrigued really. I've always been a little bit intrigued by the Playboy mansion and the whole sort of ethos. And this is a very candid account of Holly Madison's time being Hugh Hefner's girlfriend, or one of his girlfriends. We follow her from her early 20s all the way through the time that she is with Hugh Hefner, and then onwards until she has her daughter, I think, which was in 2013. And there's, as always, you know, pictures and things in here, but it was a very interesting account of a very, very strange place. The Playboy Mansion is very odd. Hugh Hefner is very strange. Anybody that wants to have numerous girlfriends that are a third of your age and that all have to sort of sit around and do certain things and have, you know, grown women with curfews of 9 p.m. at night. And yeah, I just find it very curious and weird, and it was very interesting. Holly's very honest about, you know, wanting certain things and her confusion, and yeah, I really appreciated that part of it. I just found it really, it's one of those things, you know, when you watch reality TV, it's kind of like car crash watching, but you just can't help yourself. And I just found this an addictive read. I couldn't put it down at all. I was reading it over 2 days, which is very unusual for me with any sort of non-fiction. And I think Holly's story really shows how easy it is to fall into traps when you are looking to become famous or looking for a career in the entertainment industry, how easy it could be to fall down this sort of rabbit hole and become somebody that you don't recognise. And yeah, I really enjoyed this book, and I really recommend it, and I gave it 4 stars. Then at the moment I am just over halfway through The Winds of Calacovo by Bradley P. Bolio. If you recognise this name, it's because I read 12 Kings by him, which is his newer novel recently, and I really enjoyed it, so I wanted to pick up more of his work, and this is a completed trilogy already, so I thought I'd pick up the first book. And I'm reading this with the lovely Jackie Kate and Caitlin from Kitty G, and it's been really good talking to them about this, so I will catch you up on this next week. And I'm also going to be picking up in the next couple of days the Sunlight Pilgrims by Jenni Fagan. I was lucky enough to be given this by the publisher to read and review, and I'm really excited to give this one a go. It's set during a freak winter where people in this little caravan park in Scotland are like freezing to death outside, and we follow a group of people, and it's just meant to be a very interesting, fun read. So yeah, I'll let you know how I get on with this next week. And then if you want to know any of the other books I'm looking at this week, then check out my April TBR, because that will be up soon, and we're already in April, which seems madness. But yeah, check that out, and I will catch up with you soon. Bye for now, Booktube.